What kids movie has no right to be as good as it is? Matilda. Danny DeVito and Miss Trunchbull are great. Matilda is such a classic. I remember always trying to move random shit with my mind after watching it as a kid. Never worked and still doesn't, but it's worth a try every time. Megamind. All Wallace and Gromit films are fantastic. But A Grand Day Out was made on 10,000 and you can tell, not because it's shoddy but because not a single movement of its clay animation is wasted. It's perfect. The amount of time and effort that film must have taken baffles me. The ending of A Grand Day Out brings me to tears of delight. Even hits harder with age and experience. It's a box that doesn't talk, and yet you can feel every emotion it's feeling. When you see it skiing up and down and the simple pleasure it's expressing, it's just wonderful. Lilo and Stitch. I watched this again recently as an adult, and I realized it's a story about an older sister trying to keep her family together with some aliens thrown in. Had me crying throughout the whole thing. Much different than how I remembered it as a kid. Yeah, it's really heavy. Like they even got Lilo's acting out and tantrums from trying to process losing her parents right. And Nani's Room has lots of awards for surfing, implying she gave up that career to take care of Lilo. Yep. I was lucky to have both of my parents happily married into my 30s. I have to imagine that movie hits hard for anyone who grew up without them. My husband, who does not get emotional over movies, couldn't watch it. He didn't actually lose both parents, but his dad died suddenly when he was 9 and the loss crushed his mom. He can recall years when his mom was almost always in bed crying. His brother basically raised him from ages 9 to 14 because their mom had become a shell of her former self. He cried watching Lilo Stitch. I have never seen him cry over any other movie, ever. I think it just hit too close to home for him. The Goofy movie smacked while I was a kid. And even more so now that I'm a grown-ass man. Edit, glad to see I have this in common with so many people. You all are the goats. Also, thanks for the awards. Up. I am an adult man and the opening sequence just broke my heart. I sobbed like I haven't in a very long time. I can't believe no one has said it, but I personally love The Prince of Egypt. I'm not religious, but that movie is so well made. The soundtrack is fantastic. I get mad chills at Deliver Us. Same. That first run that Afra Haza delivers? Chills. Treasure Planet, classic literature meets science fiction interpretation that I found delightful and would watch again and again. I was obsessed with this movie when it came out. I was 15 and so was the main character, and I think I just felt his loneliness and uncertainty about his future so deep down in my soul. It's so hard for kids to deal with that feeling of not belonging and not living up to the expectations being put on you. It felt like the movie was kind of panned upon its release and nobody around me seemed to like it. Plus being into animation Disney movies at age 15 felt so uncool. But this movie basically helped me decide that I wanted to be an animator and make movies and tell stories that could help other people feel less alone too. Now I'm an animator animation director, and it feels so fitting. It's also really uplifting to see that people appreciate this movie now, even though it got such lukewarm reception when it first came out. It gives me hope that the stuff I work on that isn't as well received or popular right now might still be reaching people in unexpected places. One sincere kind word about a project I work on still outweighs 100 bad reviews. A Muppet Christmas Carol is the best version of A Christmas Carol. Holes. 100%. Nearly flawless movie. In 5th grade I read the book, and immediately afterwards reread it with my parents. We all loved it. The movie is an excellent adaptation, largely thanks to the screenplay having been written by the author. Don't forget the ridiculously good casting. All the Mice movies, An American Tail, plus Fievel Goes West, Secret of Nim, The Rescuers, plus Down Under. I lived in NY for a while and was horrified by the thought of having to kill a little Fievel. Edit, never watched The Great Mouse Detective, but am thinking I'm gonna have a classic Mice movies day and watch it. The Great Mouse Detective is the best Sherlock adaptation, changed my mind. Ah yes. The Disney movie with smoking, murder, alcohol, inebriation, a whole strip show. Classic Disney. Monster Incorporated, we got a 23-19. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. Heavyweights. That movie is hilarious. Edit, thanks for the award, kind stranger. Hiya. Ratatouille, remember watching it as a teen and loving it, and now I can appreciate even more of it, the designs, the animation, and the fact that those Pixar folks made us cheer and love a rat. Also, School of Rock is just amazing how good it is. The soundtrack is one of the best out there, and all the children acted amazing, and what to say about Jack Black, he is just great every time. Hook way better than any children's movie I can think of besides Princess Bride or The Never-Ending Story. Robin Williams opposite Dustin Hoffman with Bob Hoskins and Julia Roberts, all playing characters like it was the most fun they'd ever had. The Sandlot. I was floored by Coco. Turned it on as a take a nap on couch movie, and here I am totally invested in the story and tearing up. Shrek 2. And just a hint of lust. Treasure Planet. George in the Jungle, say what you want, but Brendan Fraser was a big part of my childhood after dinner, especially in The Mummy and The Mummy 2. We taped George of the Jungle off the TV on VHS, with all the ads, and one of the news anchors in the ads became one of our favorites because he was almost part of the movie for us. He said something like, "Well, now from George of the Jungle, to George in New York." Turned out he was high all the time on the news and got fired for it. He's clean now, I just looked it up. Love you, Darren from TV3, wherever you are. Kia kaha. Meet the Robinsons. I have a big head and little arms. I don't think this plan was very well thought out. My family loves that line and use it whenever a plan is not working out. Why aren't you seizing the boy? Is constantly said in my house. Wreck-It Ralph. I'm bad. And that's good. I will never be good. And that's not bad. Therese, no one would rather be than me. I was in tears laughing when this came up in the very beginning. Bad Guys Anonymous? I mean, freaking genius. Hysterical. But man, when it comes up at the end, woo, I was a sobbing mess. Amazing how those arcs work. Just because you are bad guy, does not mean you are bad guy. Labyrinth. David Bowie is amazing, and that is some of the slickest puppeteering I've ever seen. Ferngully. It's a masterpiece in my opinion. Edit, thank you for the awards. My name is Batty. My logic is erratic, my brain's all static. Humans don't have tails. They have big bottoms that they wear with bad shorts. And they walk around going, "Hi Helen. Price check on prune juice, Bob. Price check on prune juice." Tangled. It perfectly shows off emotional manipulation, and the songs and art are fantastic. My only critique is that we didn't get to see the aftermath of Rapunzel coming to terms with her trauma, but it's understandable given the time restraints and target audience. Small Soldiers from 1998. Still holds up and still freaking awesome. Homeward Bound. Live action talking pet movie shot mostly in the woods with limited human interaction. If you didn't get emotional when Shadow returns home, you have no soul. Tangled. The Land Before Time. The Never-Ending Story. Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. Kiki's Delivery Service, My Neighbor Totoro, The Princess Bride, and Labyrinth. Madagascar. Moana. Not a movie, but the show Bluey. Wife and I bust a gut laughing. Kids love it too. Rise of the Guardians. I think it was considered to be a flop, but I really loved the movie. It was so cool and a lot of fun when I first watched it as a kid. Watching it now as an adult also has an added touch of nostalgia for my childhood. Rango. The Prince of Egypt. Holy shit, that movie soundtrack is the best one I ever heard. Not even religious, but it moves you. Scooby-Doo Spooky Island. So much focus on animation here. Let's not forget some live action gems. Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, Goonies.